Hello and welcome to a brand new National Hunt season. And as always, we're always going to be joined by Frankie Foster and Joel Ross. We'll hear from them in the next few minutes. In fact, here they are. But also got a very special preview. It's a stable tour from John Joe Jr. and all the horses he's looking forward to the riding this year. But boys, winter's here again. Frankie, how excited are you by the season ahead?
Oh, can't wait. Cheltenham being round the corner. I know that Chepstow does kick off the jump season, but Cheltenham for me is always the marker of the start of the jump season. And to be honest, that was the only racing I knew. When I first started going racing, I wouldn't really watch any racing bar all of the Cheltenham meetings, probably the King George and obviously the National. But it was Cheltenham October, November, December, New Year's, and then on to the festival. So some people love it, some people hate it. I love starting off the jump season and already looking towards the festival and how certain horses are going to be campaigned.
And Joel, how many anti-post bets have you had so far? Some of these unknown Irish horses and bumper horses. I bet you got a massive book road already.
I have got the winner's book this year, and I've only got three so far. But they'll all fall at the first fence, quite literally. I'm so pleased the jump season's here. Flat for me this year. I was so bored. Apart from Ace Impact, City of Troy, Jason Hart on Highfield Princess in France, the rest, I was so bored. So I'm so pleased. It's cold, it's freezing, and the jumps is back.
How big's that book? Is that A3, A2?
Well, you see, as the eyesight gets older and worse, you've got to get in here. It's one horse to a page. You know what I mean?
Joel was just telling me how he's getting up to date with modern technology.
Yeah. I'm getting there slowly but surely. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. They're all there. I know they're there, so it's all fine.
And we know why his eyesight's bad as well. Right, there's a big talking point, of course, over the summer, but it's come to light now. We know where Constitution Hill is going this season. Joel, we'll start with you. How do you feel about it? Obviously, it's their decision. Do you feel a little bit, upset that he's not going to be chasing and we're just going to see him winning these races easily all the way through the season?
Well, he'll probably remain unbeaten for the next 4 or 5 years. If you're Michael Buckley, totally your choice. I don't think it was ever going to happen that he went over fences. If you look at it, the stamina, and if you're going to go over fences, you've got to be winning the Gold Cup. And if it's my horse, that's very different. And I had Michael Buckley's money straight over fences. But there again, if I owned Frankel or City of Troy, I'd have him over hurdles as well. You know what I mean? Stick him over a fence. Stick him over a hurdle. If it's not about the money, then you might as well have a go because you can always come back. But I don't think there was anybody who genuinely believed that the Constitution Hill wouldn't stay over hurdles.
Frankie, in the same boat. I mean, it's going to be great to see, of course, whenever he does turn up over hurdles this season. But there's a little piece of you just wish you'd have a look at a fence.
Personally, yeah, for sure. Don't get me wrong. In sport, we love seeing exceptional talent in whatever sport it is, but we probably enjoy competition more. If there was a slight what if, will he be as good as the fences coming up against different horses? That I think to the punters is more exciting than just sitting back and going, wow, he's amazing. Although that is brilliant and to see him at Cheltenham in the Champion Hurdle is probably one of the most exciting races I've seen live. I would like more element of competition, and we would have got that if he went over a fence. But as Joel said, we can all talk about it, but we don't own him. And if I did own him, then to go and keep winning races, the top races, the Champion Hurdle for me is not too much different than the Champion Chase. So he would have to go to a Gold Cup to kind of really one up the Champion Hurdle. And he's still young enough and looks good enough to probably make history and potentially beat what Isterbrack did. So there is something to go after in that respect as well. So there's probably a lot more to lose than going over fences if you owned him than there is from just staying over hurdles, winning races and potentially making history.
I mean, I've been beaten before in a point-to-point over fences, of course, over a further distance. Maybe that played a little part in their mind, but at least it looks like it's going to be one race from Cheltenham that may stay with us and maybe be 27-1 in the Presbyterian Cup.
The only thing I would say about him, Joel, is what Joel said. And again, if you own him, it's different. But you could have a crack. We don't train horses, and Nick Henson might have a different opinion. But how bad would it be for his season if they tried to campaign him and it didn't work out? Surely he's still good enough to then switch back to hurdles. Like you could have a crack at a novice chase and then decide actually it's not for him. let's stay over hurdles. But I don't know. He's gonna probably go unbeaten again, isn't he, this year?
And it's
Joel?
also the Nicky Henderson thing of bringing him back, isn't it? So he runs 3 times over fences and just doesn't like it or whatever. And Nicky's there. I brought him back. Sprinter Sacra and Altior and all these horses over the years that you think, well, they've gone to the game, and he brings them back, and they're even better. It's I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think it was ever going to happen. If I'm rich, I've got all that money. Absolutely go for it. It's a sport. But no. So what do I do with Lossiemouth for the champion hurdle? Me first anti-post. Do I don't get that.
Well, that takes us nicely on to the next point, actually. Willie Mullins, of course, expecting to dominate again, Frankie, both in Ireland and when he comes over here.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I was trying to crunch the numbers and look at what his horses did in the novice races, both the novice hurdles or the juvenile hurdles and novice chasers, because they'll obviously go on and come back to the festival again this year in their second season disciplines. And it is mental when you look at it. The second and third in the Supreme, the first and third in the Arkle, third in the Boodles, 1, 2, 3 in the Ballymore, like about 5 or 6 out of the top 10 in the bumper. Lossiemouth, Lossiemouth, Gala Marceau Zenta in the Triumph, I think had 4th as well in the Triumph. So all of these races that he either won or placed in from last year's festivals, these horses are all going to come back again in the same discipline or stepping from hurdles to fences and have another crack this year. So his elite team, his top team, his Cheltenham team looks probably as promising as ever, in my opinion. And even the races that he didn't have winners in, the Turners, he didn't have anything in the top 3. Well, they're probably going to go on to be Gold Cup horses, and he's got one of the best Gold Cup horses we've seen in a long time, Galloping Deschamps. And then the Albert Bartlett, another he didn't have any in the top 3 in, but again, what really do Albert Bartlett's go on to do the next season? You see plenty of them turn into handicappers. So all of the exciting horses and all the novice races and the novice hurdles, novice chases are mostly Willie Mullins, and they're going to come back again.
Jesus. Joel, is there any point in anything else turning up?
No, I looked at it. I looked at Henderson and Nichols this year and going, they've spent a lot of money. Big owners are in there. I thought we'd have a real crack at this, but like Frankie, I looked through all the horses that he's got, and I'm talking like the elite horses, exactly the same as Frankie. I mean, look, even like Fact to File, the JP horse would be unbeaten if it wasn't for A Dream to Share. That was, and that's is that still one of his best? And the only other one I could find was that I'm trying to look for ones that have gone under the radar that they're not in the particularly showbiz colours. That Junta Marvel who beat Fun. Paddy Mullins was massive on this horse, and I backed it that day. It's 2 from 2. The Turner family own it. I'm obviously looking out for Mares Novice Hurdles this year. I'm just looking for something that doesn't go off 1 to 2, 1 to 3. And it's hard. It's really hard. He's got everything covered. There's certain horses that he's going to have to put together at the start of the season and see which one turns out best and where you go with it. The old Willie Mullins bingo, as they all say. But it's going to be a very exciting season if you work in the Willie Mullins yard. You don't know which track you're going to, but at least he's going to win with every one of them.
You don't know where you're going, but you're coming back with plenty of cash. That is for sure. It kind of leads on to the next one. I mean, when we look at the flat season, we seem to have a festival every 3 weeks, every month, don't we? Where with the jumps, it is kind of all geared towards Cheltenham. There's plenty of races, stepping stones in between time. I mean, Frankie, which are the races that you look forward to throughout the jump season?
I don't know whether it's... Well, the Charlie Hall last year was a really good renewal of the Charlie Hall. Brave Man's Game obviously won it, who was great all season. But it just has a proper jumps racing feel to it, the Charlie Hall meeting. I guess because it's in Wetherby and it's always freezing cold and raining, and it feels like proper jumps racing. But I do like the Charlie Hall meeting. The November meeting at Cheltenham is brilliant. We see lots of good horses, and it's the first 3-dayer that we get, or big 3-dayer that we get. We don't get too many of them through the jump season. Like you said, they come all the time in the flat, but those 3-4 days are few and far between in the jump season, particularly in the winter anyway. So that's always good fun. Love the Christmas racing. And then we've got to mention Dublin Racing Festival, which is probably Willie Mullins bingo again. But again, you look at the horses that won at the Dublin Race Festival, and then you compare that to the horses that ran well at Cheltenham. lots of that form held up last year. So Charlie Hall for a good jumps racing feel, Cheltenham November, and Dublin Racing Festival for good pointers.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me. Obviously, Wetherby, I know you said Chepstow's kind of the start, but Wetherby, that's when you really know, don't the West Yorkshire Hurdle and the Charlie Hall chase. But Joe, what races do you look forward to in the calendar?
The DRF now. I'm jumping on that bandwagon. I loved it last year. Charlie Hall. And I think my favourite one outside the main festival would be Boxing Day. King George. Just growing up as a kid. Still love it. Even now, when you're sitting around, the family's getting bigger and bigger, and you've got 80% of them have got no interest in racing. And you know, I've managed now to get on the app. I'm very good at this now. I'm very technologically advanced. And we all pick a horse and see what happens. So I'm watching every single race on every single channel that day, but we all get round for the big one. So yeah. For me, it's I'm just really excited it's here. I'm bloody freezing but I'm really excited that it's here.
Boxing Day was good last year, wasn't it? Didn't they have was it Fighting Fifth? Yeah. Cool. Can't remember what they had an extra race, didn't they?
From transfer from Newcastle.
They did. It wasn't the Fighting Fifth.
Or was it the long walk? The long walk.
It was, yeah.
It was a real good card. That was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
We had Constitution Hill winning, Paisley Park winning, Brave Man's Game. Yeah, it was a good card last year. I'd like to have that again, but I'm sure Ascot would disagree.
All right, come on, it's a long season.
Well, I'll try and get a trip. I'll try and get a trip over to the DRF. Punter's Guide on tour to the DRF.
That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be. Right, we're going to listen to John Joe O'Neill Jr. very short. He's going to go through all the leading lights from Jackdaw's Castle ahead of the new season. Before we do that, though, there's a couple of questions. I want to bet off you right now for the season ahead. I know it's early days, but before that, I mean, what's whetting your appetite? The bet, by the way, can come in any part of the season, but what's whetting your appetite in terms of the festival? Is there anything, I know Joe, you mentioned a couple of horses from Woody Mullins's yard. Is there anything that you're looking at the festival thinking, I'm having my eye on him, I'll be following that throughout the season? It's in the book already, Joe.
Yeah. Sergino in the Donnelly colours, the old melon colours. It's gone to Henderson. And they paid a lot of money for it. And you look at it and where's it come from, what it's done. It's that race in France that I look back at where Gaelic Warrior came out of. And we didn't know how good Gaelic Warrior was. And they got chinned by Brazil on the line. State Man came out of that race as well. I think this will be campaigned the same way, kept quiet. And then you don't really know how good it was. But it won that big race in France, the Prix de Wolf or something, whatever it's called. But that's definitely one to have a look at. Got the right colours on it. Henderson's got it. So this could be one for the season. And it's just a bit of excitement of sticking the first horse to put up my tracker just for this year of going, right, where does this go? And it's not going to be one under the radar. This is going to be one that's, you know, left, right and centre. But Sergino, see where it goes this year.
I'm surprised, actually. You texted me about 3 months ago saying John Bonnock's a massive price for the Ryanair.
Yeah, I've taken him out of the Ryanair now.
Oh, the beauty of anti-post bunting. Frankie, anything for the festival you might have your eye on at this point?
Much more known than Joel. It's not very unknown, but I think Barry Connell will try and do the double, which he didn't quite manage with Marine Nationale and Goodland. Marine Nationale is your obvious Arkle favourite. Goodland, I'm hoping, has a crack. I always get these the wrong way around, but the 3 Mile Novice Chase. The Turners. Either way, the 3 Mile Novice Chase. He just looks a proper durable horse. He raced over 2 miles 6 when he won Leopardstown, and then obviously was fourth. But I think they said he was coming down with a cold at the festival, so some excuses there. And I know that Michael O'Sullivan's been pretty happy with him over fences, so I'd be quite looking forward to them coming back with both of those two and trying to win their respective distances over fences.
I think he's out. I am just checking. I think he's out.
Really?
Yeah, recently. It was only a few days ago. Yeah. Yes, out for the season. Hope you haven't backed him.
Well, there you go. That's not what to... No, I haven't.
Goodland,
did you say?
Non-runner, no bet yet. Non-runner, no bet for the festival.
I'm waiting for you to bite on the Marine Nationale bandwagon, because I know you didn't like that last year.
I just want to put... Right, okay,
Goodland, Matt.
Right, here we are. Marine Nationale, every week on the Punter's Guide from Betfred, Matt was there, and I was giving it to him every week, going, no, needs a run, needs this, needs a run, needs this. And you stayed loyal, and look what happened. Marine Nationale. So I bowed down to you. You didn't put an 80-1 horse up. What was that? Wishing and hoping last year, but Marine National, you were there from the start, so fair play to you, man.
The secret to success: not listening to Joel. Yeah, he's a tendon injury. So yeah, they're giving him a rest. So I mean, I was looking. I kind of agree. I thought John Boyne the Rhino, looking at what's not got else in there, not a lot's going to go. I think around about 5-6-1. He looks likely to go there. I thought he's of interest. And Marine National was the other one as well. In the arc looks very, very solid. But I'll save another one for the bet that I would have right now, and that's what I'm going to ask you for. So, if you to have a small anti-post wager right now on something for the festival at a decent price, what do you think you'd be looking at? I'll start with you first, Frankie.
Love Envoy for the Mayor's Hurdle. Lossiemouth may, probably will go. There's also Gala and Marceau. They were both pretty impressive last season. But Love Envoy, very tough. Got very, very close to Honeysuckle, who was a champion hurdle winner and was really good to win last year. Love Envoy seems to be getting better and better and better. Very consistent as well. So I don't think you're doing yourself any harm to have an each-way bet. I think that she'd be in the frame. Whether or not one of the younger horses like Lossiemouth comes along and is a little bit too good is who knows. But I think Love Envoy, super consistent, very, very good horse, should be going and having another crack at it. An each way bet seems more than fair for me.
Cool, Love Envoy. I'll go next. I'll put up the real whacker in the Gold Cup. You mentioned the Charlie Huff, and that's where he's going to go first, isn't it? I mean, he beat Jerry Colombe there, and yet he's over twice the price of him. That one come out and won at Aintree. If he's not I know he's not from a sexy stable. He'd be a lot shorter if he was. So you kind of got that in your favour. He's around about 16-1, and of course, until recently, RSA Chase was on Broadway. He'd obviously Chase winners as it is now. Always had a decent record stepping up into the Gold Cup. So I'm hoping he can stay fit and sound and get to the Gold Cup. And around about 16-20-1, he's of interest. Hopefully we'll see him at Weatherby, say, in the Charlie Hull Chase up first. Joel, something for the festival at this very early stage.
Obviously, it's going to be one that's a bit weird. But when you hear my reasoning, I'm going Albert Bartlett, and I'm going for Stellar Story, the brother to one of my favourite horses, Storyteller. Won a really good bumper, got purchased for about, I think it was like 310 grand by Gigginstown. We've been doing this now for 20, 25 minutes. We've not mentioned Gordon Elliott yet. So at a stupidly big price, Stellar Story, Albert Bartlett, have me £2.50 each way for that.
Brilliant stuff. Well, let's say very, very early thoughts on the festival. I know we're miles away from it, and I did say I won't mention the C word until at least Boxing Day. But there we have it. So for the jump season, we will be back every single week looking ahead to the big races. And of course, from around about Christmas time, we will start our Road to Cheltenham series as well every single Monday, where we review the action from that previous weekend and look ahead to the big trial races that following weekend as well. So that's me, Frankie and Joel throughout the season here, looking ahead to the National Hunt campaign. But before we say cheerio, I'm going to let you go with John Joe O'Neill Jr.'s stable tour for this season. I mean, have you had a look? Are you thinking about Jackdaw's Castle? I mean, we'll hear from John Joe in a bit. Is there anything that you're really interested in listening to from that yard for the season ahead?
Yeah, I want to know what's the one that run the bumper on heavy ground?
Beach Pyramid.
Yes. Yeah, and who's the really big one? Is it something Molly? Something like that? I want to hear about that. I made some notes, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Who. The one that beat Hermes Allen, 19 lengths in that point-to-point. I want to know about that. I thought it won the Taunton bumper on the bridle and was brilliant, but it might have been flattened by the ground. I don't know. I want to hear about that one. That's the one that I want to hear about. And the big mare as well. I think it's Molly something.
Unsinkable Molly B.
That's the one.
Then. Well, stay tuned. Here's Betfred ambassador John Joe O'Neill Jr. giving his stable tour of some big contenders this season from Jackdaw's Castle. John Joe O'Neill Jr., the start of a brand new season. How excited are you?
Very excited, yeah. Feels like it's been a long time coming, but all the hard work is done now and just need a bit of rain and hopefully they'll start running.
And what will be your personal target? Any personal targets for the season?
It's always to beat your previous best. If I could get to 75 winners this year, I think is a good target. And obviously want to improve the quality and stuff and try and land yourself on a nice horse this year.
And what are you looking forward to most? The big meetings?
Yeah, Yeah, I love the big meetings, love the big races. The higher the pressure, the higher the chance you probably have of winning. So I like that. And we hopefully got a few nice horses to have a crack at them this year.
I mean, a lot of talk about obviously the spring festivals, but it's a long road there, and there's lots of prizes on the way. Nice prizes.
There is, yeah, from kind of Chepstow onwards, really. You've got Cheltenham, and then you've got Aintree, the old Rowan meeting, and goes on to Charlie Hall in Ascot, and next thing you know, it's Paddy Power meeting. So it's exciting, yeah, and it does all roll into one, and next thing you know, it's March.
Even just talk about your own personal target. Do you ever go into season dreaming big? What are your wishes for the season, or are you always realistic, feet on the ground?
I am realistic. You have to be quite steady. A lot can happen. You can get a fall and be injured tomorrow. It can all blow up in flames. So you've got to be fairly sensible. But yeah, you've got to have dreams and aspirations of what can happen this year. But a lot of water under the bridge until then.
Okay, John, let's talk about some of the stars of the yard here at Jackdaws. Monbeg Genius, tell us about him first.
Yeah, improved really nicely last year. So he was a decent novice hurdler, won 2 novice hurdles. But we were taken aback, really, to be fair, how much he improved over fences. And, his run in Cheltenham, although at the time we were disappointed to be beaten into third. He was third to Corrick Rambler, who won the National, and Fast or Slow, who won the Punchtown Gold Cup. So actually, pretty good run. We were looking forward to running him in the Scottish National, but the ground was too quick that day, so just couldn't happen. But hopefully, that blessing in disguise, maybe. He had a busy old season last year, and hopefully he's our national horse this year, and he might be Hennessy type of horse, or Beecher Chase or something, early season target.
Tell us about Iron Bridge in the colours of the late Trevor Hemmings.
Yeah, similar profile. Won 2 novice hurdles, improved for fences. Wants very soft ground. Hopefully we can take him to something like the Welsh National, suit him really nicely.
And collector's item, he built into a nice staying hurdler last season. Are fences the aim for him?
Yeah, collector's item surprised us, to be honest. He won at Chepstow the first meeting, 2 miles in novice hurdle, beat one of Paul Nichols's Hugo's Newholts, who won 5 after that. He won on good ground over 2 miles, but he ended up wanting 3 miles on heavy ground at the end of the season. Just got touched off in the Grade 2 at Haydock in February. And he had a busy old campaign, but he jumped fences well.
And Springwell Bay, he had a light but decent season last season.
Yeah, Springwell Bay is a horse we've always held in high regard ever since he won at Market Raisin in a bumper. He had a good year last year. He won at Ascot very impressively. We were really looking forward to Aintree. Thought he'd go quite close, but he nearly got brought down the back, and it kind of put away his chances, which was a shame. But we haven't decided yet if we're going to go chasing or stay over hurdles. But he's probably got a nice handicap hurdle in him, hopefully.
And Krabilly, you signed off with a nice win right at the end of the season.
Yeah, ran well. Didn't run a bad race last year. Got stuck in the mud a little bit in the EBF final at Sandown, but still ran quite well. But he did it very nicely the last day of the season at Sandown, and he was always going chasing this year. So I think we might start him off there. There's a few races at Carlisle at the beginning of November. Something might suit nicely.
And Petit Tonnerre was a horse that I kind of followed and didn't have much luck last season.
Yeah, he was a little bit frustrating. Usually ran his race without winning. He's only a 5-year-old still. He's been here a couple of years. He's a fairly classy horse, and good chance he might go chasing this year, which might just open up a few more options for him.
And tell me about Imperial Bead.
Imperial Bead, not always the most consistent, but when he is, he's pretty solid. Good chance he could go chasing as well this year, although that's not decided yet. He's a little while off running, but hopefully, I don't think we've probably got to the top of him yet.
And Saint Davia, again, I think another one you've always quite liked.
Yeah, he's unfortunate. he won a bumper early in the season last year, and then won a maiden hurdle in Chepstow Welsh National Day. Then met a couple of setbacks and wasn't able to run until the end of the April meeting at the Grand National meeting. He still ran quite well in that, but he was very inexperienced. He'd only had one run, so we think probably will go chasing. He's a big, fine horse, and he probably need a bit of experience. But his run at Chepstow was good, so we'd be pretty happy with him going chasing now.
And Hastings, who came over from France, having won a couple over there.
Yeah, was second at Uttoxeter with a double penalty and a bumper. I had a few winners in the race already. I think his entry run was very good, and hopefully he could develop, and if he can translate that form over hurdles, develop into a smart novice hurdle, probably over a trip. You like a bit of nice soft ground, so hopefully we'll see him mid-November onwards.
Johnny who we might see out early this season.
Yeah, he's nearly ready to go. Won Taunton pretty impressively, but not sure how much he got flattered really, because the ground was very testing that day, and maybe he just coped with it better than others. I don't think he necessarily needs heavy ground, because we were actually worried about it going into the race, but he handled it fine and he won nicely. So he was always supposed to go novice hurdling last year, but just met a couple of setbacks, and then it was too late in the season really to go novice hurdling. So hopefully this year we'll get a clear run with him, and hopefully he looked like a nice horse in Taunton.
Hiffo.
Yep, he was pretty tenacious when he won at Haydock. He battled all the way up the straight and won with gritted teeth. And yeah, he was second and third before that. So he's a solid horse, and hopefully he should be able to pick up a maiden hurdle, you'd think.
Track and Trace as well. Can you tell about him?
Yeah, Track and Trace disappointed us a little bit earlier in the season last year, but turns out he had quite a serious problem, so we left him and brought him back in this year, and won at Warwick the first day back a couple of weeks ago, and won quite nicely. Be a 3-mile chaser really, but happy with the way he did it. He had a good look out in front and probably pulled up with me a bit, but just managed to held on. But yeah, I think hopefully he can progress as he goes up in trip.
And Unsinkable Molly B, we've seen her here this morning. She's big.
Yeah, she's massive. Yeah, she is massive, and she hasn't shrunk anyway. She was a big store when we bought her, and she has taken quite a bit of time, but the Walker family, they've been very patient, and they knew what they were buying when they got her. So she ran well in the bumper at Wetherby, and she probably will enjoy a bit of soft ground. She was second at Wetherby, and she wouldn't have done an awful lot at home really. So she learned everything on the track. So if she can translate that form over hurdles, you think big galloping tracks and soft ground would really suit her.
Inch House, tell me about him.
Improved for going up in trip last year. He won at Chepstow and a novice hurdle at Chepstow. He was always going to be a chaser, jumped his hurdles like he wanted fences, so we're looking forward to him this year stepping up. Hopefully he might just be like them horses that might improve a good bit for going over fences.
And Langini's got a bit of family honour to uphold.
Yeah, unfortunately for the horse, he does. Yeah, he's Langini's half brother to Constitution Hill by Flemonsworth. We bought him as a store before Constitution Hill was Constitution Hill. So it's not his fault, but he won his bumper first time out at Huntingdon. Took a good while for the penny to drop, but he was motoring home at the end and won going away. So we were pretty happy. Going over hurdles in the next couple of weeks, and he's grown up a lot this year, so physically as well, so we're pretty happy with him.
And Zonda as well, is a beautiful little grey.
Yeah, Zonda, gorgeous horse. Broughton's and friends, they've had to be patient with him. He had a couple of niggles early on in his life, but he's in good form now, and he's a horse we always held in high regard. It was just trying to keep him right, but he's been good this year, so we're happy.
Tell me about Beachcomber.
Beachcomber, he won a bumper impressively at Chepstow. He then ran the champion bumper, but the ground went heavy, so it didn't suit him. He wants probably top of the ground. Probably will come on a lot for his first run. Got a little bit tired, but hopefully he should be able to make his presence felt if the ground's not too soft.
And Brook Bay?
Brook Bay ran really well the other day at Uttoxeter for Martin and Ivana Tedham. He ran disappointing in his bumper back in February, but I think mentally he was just done for the season, so we were happy to put a line through that run, but there was a lot more like it, and I think Skelton's horse is fairly decent. That one, the Walk in the Park Asian Maze horse, so we actually probably wanted a trip in time. We just wanted to teach him to settle, but that was a lot more like it, so we were happy.
And a couple of new recruits. Firstly, Mount Fuji Park.
Yeah, Mount Fuji Park bought for the Tanzanite partnership. So a couple of current owners in the yard have come together to try and buy a couple of nice horses. We bought him in February at the Cheltenham sales, and proper 3-mile chaser. 5-year-old now, he shouldn't have a problem with the trip or anything. So nice horse.
And Bill Joyce as well, another new one here at Jackdaws.
Yeah, Bill Joyce, Danny Walker, and the Walker family bought at Cheltenham earlier in the spring. Beat a couple of horses that subsequently won in his point-to-point, and he's a couple of months off running. Probably wants really soft ground, but no, we liked him when we bought him, and we still like him.
Red Dirt Road.
Yeah, Red Dirt Road did well last year. Won a couple of hurdle races, won well at Exeter in the handicap, and just got touched off at Cheltenham and Warwick then in April and May. Good chance he could probably go chasing this year.
And Boston Boy.
Boston Boy, the second horse for the Tanzanite partnership. Nice horse, only a 4-year-old, but big, fine horse. Doesn't look like a 4-year-old at all. He probably go to Aintree at the end of the month, over 2.5 miles in maiden hurdle. We'll start him off there. But the sellers were pretty adamant he was a nice horse, and he shows nice bits at home, so hopefully he is.
And a bit of a stalwart of the yard here, Soaring Glory.
Soaring Glory, yeah, he's still here, and probably going to step him up in trip this year. Being by fame and glory, probably bred to be a stayer. But he's done well for us. He won the Betfred hurdle and won nice races at Ascot and a few places. Beat Rainman's Game in a novice hurdle at Chepstow a few years ago. So, no, he's been a good horse. He struggled last season, a couple of setbacks, and didn't like going chasing. And it was just one of them seasons. He's quite high in the handicap and just struggled a bit. But hopefully this year, if we step him up in trip, we'll be able to get a bit more improvement out of him again.
Tell us about Yesterday.
Yesterday, Richie McLernam won them the other day. He's Ian Bullion's first horse, so he won the other day at Uttoxeter over 2.5 miles. Looks like a lovely 3-mile chaser for next year, but obviously he can win his novice hurdles and stuff this year. So no, we'd really look forward to him next year. Whatever he does this year, it'd be a bonus.
I think this one behind us wants to talk about him. What we got over here is whinnying along.
I think probably one of the stalls we bought there earlier on. Little baby.
Are you wise to that?
Nice horse. Won well early in the season last year. Then he ran consistent without winning, but we were a little bit scratching our heads because we thought he would win. But we thought going chasing this year, might just help him. He's related to, it's got the same family as Denman by Walk in the Park. So, he's got the right attributes. But he won well at Warwick the first day. Took a little while for him to find his feet, but he won nicely, won going away. So he's probably going to be aimed at Ascot, the first meeting there, I think the 4th of November, for a 2.5 novice handicap chase.
Well, It's So Fury had a good season over hurdles last year.
But yeah, had a good season over hurdles. Good chance he could go over fences as well. We're probably going to run him in a fixed brush Haydock Series qualifier at Exeter in a couple of weeks first, just to get that out the way, and then we might go chasing as well.
Maleficent.
Yeah, Maleficent's lovely filly, like Seymour. It's got a big band of fillies to breed from and stuff now. And she won a Utah bumper nicely last year. She ran in the market race in Allen Swimbank bumper in February. She was a little bit disappointing. She didn't come back 100%, so we were happy to leave her off for the season and come back. But she jumps very well. She'll go the Mares Novice Hurdle Division this year, and hopefully she can make a mark.
And what I've just seen him on Wellington Arch. She's a nice individual.
Wellington Arch, yeah, full brother to Pembroke of Skeltons, who did well last year. Second grade 2 at Cheltenham in January. Ran well the other day, first time out of the fences. He's a nice horse, going to run him in a bumper to start with. He's only 4, but he's big. He's a big boy, so just need a little bit of time to develop.
And the stable star finally, Play to Getaway.
Play to Getaway, he's in good form. He had a setback after he won at Worcester, but he was really getting the hang of things. So hopefully, we can get him back on track now, and he's fairly versatile, can go 2.5, and we'll go fences probably in the spring with him. But we're very happy with him. He's back in action.
Anything else you're really looking forward to?
Just the season to get going.
Just give us a couple that you're really looking forward to, Ryan, or what you think may just elevate to this, maybe grade 1 or top handicaps this season.
Yeah, well, Springwell Bay I think is still probably fairly handicapped on the form he had last year. So hopefully he's got a nice shot of running a big race in one of them. Any harm in asking? He didn't have much of a season last year, but before that he was doing well. So if we can get him back on track, he's still a fair horse. Still likes of Johnny Who, Hastings, Langini, a few bumper horses there as well. There's plenty to look forward to. Monbeg, Genius, Kabilly. You'd be excited, yeah.
If there's one thing you could take out of the season, one victory, whatever, it could be anything, what would it be? If you could look back in May and got that done.
Wouldn't mind another grade 1 winner. But you need to find the right horse. So we'll try and find that horse this year.
Well, thanks to John Joe Jr. Then, if you like that, have a look at our Day in the Life we filmed with him as well. So we followed the jockey and what he does away from the saddle. But boys, get studying. We're back on Friday, of course, for our first National Punters Go. We're looking at the Cheltenham, the showcase meeting, and that when you feel, Frankie, it really starts on this. You mentioned at the top of the show, when Cheltenham gets going, the National season really is here.
Yeah, I've always used to do quite well at the October meeting as well. There's one that stands out in my mind, the Mighty Don at 20-1. He was an absolute stayer. And I think it was the October meeting when I backed him. And that was probably the start of mine and his demise, because I backed him from then on since, just out of love. And I don't think he won another race. But the October meeting's great. It really kicks off the jump season. Going to Cheltenham's good, because everyone kind of feels like they're back, and you see all the national hunt faces. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Cheltenham, and hopefully we can find some winners.
And if you've not watched it before, what you can expect from Joel is to go through all the big races at Cheltenham and then get his best bet of the day in the bumper at Navan.
A winner is a winner, as they always say. A winner is a winner.
Well, Happy Valley.
yeah. Good point.
We've got to get off to a winning start, haven't we? I don't think it matters if it comes from Navan. I think we've got to find the winner next weekend, wherever it's from.
Wherever it's from, Frankie Constitution Hill, right? That's fine. Anti-post, that is 1 to 2 shot. Marine Nationale, and some horse that hasn't been born yet for the champion bumper.
That's what you can expect from Joel, I can guarantee it. Right, so yeah, we're looking to Cheltenham this weekend. Join us then, I say, throughout the jump season. Thanks to the boys for this preview. Thanks to John Joe Jr. as well for his rundown of the big contenders at Jackdaw's Castle. Make sure you join us Friday for the Punter's Guide, the new National Hunt season.